Hello and welcome. This is the news on NTA International. I'm Lami Ali and Taiwo Ozoma is the sign language interpreter. Let's begin with the headlines. Presidential diplomatic shuttle. Nigeria gets more gains from recent China trip. President Tinubu expresses concern over Maiduguri flood, pledges federal support. Also, the news ECOWAS unveils a regional strategy on disaster management. We begin with the president's visit to China. Apart from the direct and potential opportunities being expected by Nigeria at the national level, President Bola Tinubu's presence in China has equally opened up investment and partnership opportunities for some subnational governments in Nigeria. State House correspondent Musbat Lanwahab reports that Kaduna, Lagos, as well as Niger are among the immediate benefiting states from the China trip.
President Bola Tinubu provided the lead for the leaders of the subnationals in the delegation on a visit to the Executive Exhibition Center of Huawei in Beijing.
Probably will be how to digitalize your
Huawei has been in Nigeria since 1999 and here suggesting how digital development can aid the actualization of a renewed hope agenda, perhaps in a smarter way.
we can support you to achieve.
So, the president was taken through the benefits that come with a typical smart city where new technologies are deployed to enhance intelligence operations, education, security, provision of infrastructure, renewable energy, among others. Kaduna State government is the first subnational to leverage on the partnership with Huawei in this regard.
Huawei will help us through the deployment of technology to ensure that we have smart education, smart healthcare, establishment of state-level command center in Kaduna that will also boost our security coverage in Kaduna.
The president also led his delegation to the corporate head office of the China Railway Construction Corporation, CRCC, where he lauded the partnership of the company in ensuring infrastructural renewal across Nigeria.
Infrastructure development is a very key enabler for prosperity. Movement of goods, transportation, inflation, and all of that is affected with a good network. As I go about in Beijing, I could see the monumental work of infrastructural development that the Chinese government is doing. And we were going to do the same. I don't see why the exchange of Naira and yuan has stopped. We have to renew that. We should swap our currencies. Respect yuan and I respect my Naira. And we do our transaction in that mode. I will promote it. I will support it. I guarantee you.
Lagos State government signed some MOUs for the construction of a second Ekpe-Lekki bridge and to continue the railway infrastructure development of the state.
And that will also, in another way, change the transformation and transportation infrastructure in Lagos, completely. So we're excited, with that. We're excited with the fact that we're going on with all of this shopping list, and there are several other, conversations we had in energy. But there are other conversations we had, on renewables, like I talked about. But more importantly, we've been able to use this trip to galvanize direct interests of Chinese businesses in Nigeria and vice versa.
The MOUs that have been signed have been very timely because, for instance, the Abuja-Lagos rail line has been concluded, which is going to start from Abuja through Suleja to Mina to Mokwa. So this is very good for us. On that corridor, it's going to open way for agriculture. It's going to open way, for transportation. Therefore, our goods can now go to the ports easily.
The governors commended President Bola Tinubu for leading the way, which they believe would speed up developments across the country. Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu expresses deep concern about the flooding in parts of Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. It is the worst flood in recent decades that has displaced thousands of residents and affected facilities such as the post office and the Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. President Tinubu extends his heartfelt condolences to the government and people of the state, especially to the families that have lost their means of livelihood due to the disaster triggered by the overflow of the Alau Dam. While relevant authorities are still assessing the damage wrought by the flood, the president calls for the immediate evacuation of people from affected areas. Former President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the government and people of Borno and the other states following severe floods caused by incessant downpour, describing it as a national calamity. The former president bemoaned the widespread of devastation in homes, farmlands, and the loss of life in Borno and several other states of the Federation. He expresses the hope that the relief measures by the various government agencies would provide comfort and help people who had lost their family members and livelihood to resume their normal lives. The flood ravaging parts of the country is a major concern to the federal government, and support will be provided to affected states. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the assurance as directed by President Bola Tinubu.
I want to use this forum to commiserate with the people of our great nation over the flood disasters we are recording all across the length and breadth of this nation. After this meeting, with the consent of the President, I will rush to Maiduguri. The whole city has been overtaken by floods. It's not peculiar to one part of the country. We are facing these challenges right from Bayelsa to Sokoto. Be rest assured that the President has the nation at heart and will do whatever it takes to salvage the state of affairs. And here...
Now, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has again released another fresh update on flood devastation and casualties in states and local government areas across the country. The statement issued on the 10th of September 2024 indicates that 809,312 persons are affected, with 386,239 displaced from their homes, while 94,491 houses have been destroyed, with 229 deaths recorded. It's further revealed that 2,390 injuries were sustained and 125,805 hectares of farmlands washed away, with 172 local government areas affected, while states affected still stand at 29. Member states of ECOWAS now have a regional strategy framework to plan and execute all disaster risk reduction activities. The document, validated and adopted in Abuja, was a consolidation of the Niamey recommendation of 2023. Kelvin Iwunwai has the report.
Many countries in West Africa are plagued with displaced persons, either from conflicts or natural disasters made worse by impact of climate change. Now, the ECOWAS Midterm Regional Consultative Meeting on Disaster Risk Reduction, we brought together emergency management agencies, has reviewed the 2023 Niamey document on disaster management and adopted a new framework that harmonized the response approach methodology with a view to making impact of natural disasters on the region bearable.
Over the years, ECOWAS has invested a lot to all the member states. And I think this continue to be a challenge because resources are limited. And I think also coupled with the fact that to also address the root causes of these issues, it's also very important. So in all ramifications, ECOWAS is investing a lot and we need more resources.
For instance, at the moment, we have what is known as Women Network in Disaster Risk Management. We have just started that exercise, and one of the states in the country is being adopted as a pilot state that will escalate to all other states.
The framework is to be ratified by ECOWAS member states with a timeline for periodic evaluation. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
Director General of the World Health Organization, WHO, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, says the international community has seemingly forgotten about Sudan and is paying little heed to the conflict which is tearing the country apart. Ghebreyesus, who is on a visit to Sudan, said the scale of the emergency is shocking, like the insufficient action being taken to curtail the conflict.
Sudan's conflict has so far killed more than 20,000 people. This is an underestimate, by the way. Displaced over 10 million people inside the country and forced another 2 million to flee to neighboring countries. This is the largest internal displacement of people in the world today. The conflict has left some 25 million people, more than half of the country's population, in dire need of humanitarian aid. Of this, 14.7 million require urgent assistance for a range of life-saving support, for which the humanitarian sector has requested $2.7 billion, which is less than half funded. But we must focus on all people in need, all 25 million people. And this means additional resources are required to meet their needs. And we are calling on the world to wake up and help Sudan out of the nightmare it's living through.
Buildings in the northern Vietnamese city of Thanh Nguyen are almost completely submerged after Typhoon Yagi caused widespread flooding with fatalities above 80. While in Libya, massive reconstruction effort is underway after Storm Daniel caused 2 dams to burst, leading to flood that killed almost 4,000 people. Comfort Fashion tells us more.
Locals say Typhoon Yagi struck Saturday, bringing winds in excess of 149 kilometers per hour and a flood of rain. This caused flooding not experienced in decades as the storm downed bridges, tore roofs of buildings, damaged factories and triggered widespread flooding and landslide, leaving 64 people still missing, while emergency workers raced to evacuate victims. Reports say thousands of people were stranded on rooftops as they posted desperate pleas for help on social media on Tuesday, just as death toll rises. Hanoi authorities said more than 25,000 trees in the city had been uprooted in the storm, with huge trunks blocking key roads in the city center, creating large traffic jams. Meteorologists says the north of the country, which is densely populated and a major manufacturing hub for global tech firms, including Samsung, was badly hit, with floodwaters in the city of Yanbai at record levels. Authorities have, however, issued flood and landslide warnings for 401 communities across 18 northern provinces. While in Libya, a year after flooding in eastern Libya killed thousands and razed entire neighborhoods, experts say reconstruction is allowing military strongman Khalifa Haftar to wield further power in the divided country. On September 10, 2023, extreme rainfall from the hurricane-strength Storm Daniel caused 2 dams to burst in the coastal city of Dana, some 1,300 kilometers east of the capital Tripoli. Others led to flooding that killed nearly 4,000 people, left thousands missing, and displaced more than 40,000 others, according to the United Nations. Authorities said 3,500 homes have been rebuilt, while maintenance work had been done on the city's power grid and schools. The two dams were built in the 1970s by a Yugoslav company, but received very little maintenance work, despite a budget being allocated. Comfort, Fashim, NTA News.
This is news at 7 on NTA International. We take a short break now. Do stay tuned for more reports.
From humble beginnings to the extraordinary, we've witnessed incredible bonds, the rise of legends in the most challenging of times, and the most unforgettable moments that kept us at the edge of our seat. Everything up till now was just the beginning. Legends go head-to-head as timelines have collapsed for the ultimate showdown. Welcome to Big Brother Naija All-Stars.
Proudly sponsored by Money Point, powering dreams. In association with HFM, online trading at its finest.
Relief is coming. More wages, reduced costs. Nigeria's national minimum wage is now 70,000 naira and it will be reviewed every 3 years. The federal government will commence immediate implementation and state governments are being encouraged to follow suit. With the presidential CNG initiative, transport costs are coming down. Are you a car owner or a transporter? Visit www.pci.gov.ng to find out how you can benefit from switching to CNG. This is the renewed hope.
You're welcome back. The first Tunisia-Nigeria Forum has commenced in Abuja with a strong Tunisian delegation of experts in diverse fields in attendance. Facilitated by the Tunisian Embassy in Nigeria, the forum is aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation between both countries. Calvin Iwunwai reports.
Bilateral relations between Nigeria and Tunisia date back to 1962 and concretized with the opening of Tunisian Embassy in Nigeria in 1997. Since then, trade and political relations have grown considerably, but the Tunisian Embassy in Nigeria believes that with the economic strength of both nations, a lot of expansion can be achieved in diverse fields like construction, trade, technology, agriculture, and education. This forum, being attended by a business delegation from both countries, is expected to explore more areas of cooperation.
To us in Nigeria, this trade mission is a confirmation of excellent bilateral relations, and it has great prospect for enhancing our economic collaborations. Tunisia and Nigeria share a lot of cultural and religious affinities.
Looking forward to coordinating, putting the needed mechanisms in place to reach successful economic cooperation synonymous with good faith and constructed on a win-win basis.
The next forum is expected to take place in Tunisia, where issues discussed here will be taken further and evaluated. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
Now, President Bola Tinubu rejoices with Chief Gabriel Ebenedio, the Esama of Benin, for attaining another milestone age on September 11, 2024. The president praises the Esama for his lifetime achievements and trailblazing as a businessman, philanthropist and advocate for education and community development. The president notes that Chief Igbenedion, who will be 90 on Wednesday, has contributed immensely to job creation and the growth of the nation's economy as the founder and chairman of the Igbenedion Group, a conglomerate with interest in various sectors, including oil and gas, construction and hospitality. He also commends the SMR for establishing Igbenedion University, the first privately owned university in the country, and for his commitment to advancing quality education and academic excellence. President Bola Tinubu says his administration is taking courageous steps to reform Nigeria's macroeconomic environment with a focus on restoring confidence in the nation's economy. The president, represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, made the promise at the 17th Annual Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and Finance Conference in Abuja. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila was there.
A meeting of financial experts, mostly from the banking sector, and the federal government is taking advantage towards ensuring support to actualize measures targeted at reducing inflation, stabilizing the foreign exchange market, and improving fiscal management. The 17th Annual Chartered Institute of Bankers Conference, focusing on accelerating economic growth and development, and Vice President Shettima describes the focus as timely, noting that it came at a moment the nation is grappling with interrelated challenges, but also present opportunities for growth and development.
Recognizing the impact of inflation on vulnerable populations, we have enhanced social protection programs, including cash transfer schemes, by providing direct payments to 75 million Nigerians in 50 million households to reduce the suffering of citizens, especially vulnerable groups. Additionally, we have introduced initiatives to support agricultural productivity, thereby addressing food inflation directly. The President also approved a 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities including maize, husk brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas.
Stakeholders called for urgent introspective look on Nigeria's economic challenges, stressing the need for innovative solutions.
Let's use it to make progress collectively as a country. It is, in my viewpoint, yes, bitterness by pain, but not a time to finger point. Everyone, each and all of us, must ask ourselves, what role can we play in making this country a better place? The Nigerian banking sector is a cornerstone of Nigeria's economy. The transformation of our banking sector over the past few decades, is one of our success stories. And
the banking industry is not only a participant, but also a driver of our nation's economic growth and development. Let us embrace this opportunity with vision and determination by working together.
We must also note that it's extremely important when there is criminal infraction, penal sanctions will follow. Now, I make both to tell you with every sense of humility here that we will no longer fold our arms. As a matter of fact, some of the mind-boggling major financial fraud that has been carried out that looked like an onslaught against the economy was done through the banking industry.
The stakeholders are satisfied with the progress made in Nigeria's banking sector, calling for continued collaboration to strengthen its role in supporting the economic policies of the federal government. In Abuja, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Commissioning a comprehensive business plan for establishing and managing public relations and leadership university as a viable, sustainable and enterprise-driven organization, as well as overseeing the development of the academic brief, fiscal master plan and university law to ensure alignment with NUC standards are among the 13 terms of reference for the Public Relations and Leadership University Project Implementation Committee that was inaugurated by the President and Chairman of Council, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Ike Neliaku. Hamanjabani brings us the story.
Your committee, Professor Dandara, should tell us how to retain what we have made commitment to by citing the university in Nasarawa State and then resolving the marketing issue that locating it in FCT would have solved for us. That is your term of reference number 13.
These terms of reference for the Project Implementation Committee of the Public Relations and Leadership University, among others, will see to the takeoff of the first of its kind in the world that will not only offer degree programs and research but address skills gaps and talent needs, enhance Africa's reputation, fostering ethical and value-based leadership, global competitiveness and influence. Others are promoting entrepreneurship, innovation and cultural exchange, and advancing sustainable development goals and innovation. The university is expected to empower individuals to become effective communicators, strategic thinkers, and ethical leaders who can positively transform their organizations, communities, and nations.
We will not just be making history, but we will be setting in motion the process through which the much talked about visionary leaders that will lead us to a greater tomorrow will be produced on a continuous basis.
The site of this university will not only be a place of superior landscape beauty, but will enjoy huge accessibility nationally and internationally.
We need a center point, some melting pot beyond just this Abuja that is supposedly the center of unity, but a point of understanding where we can relate with ourselves.
It will unleash the capacity of our people to learn how to relate with one another and with the international community better. It will look for the talent that is inside our young people.
At any point that the NIPR will need any form of legislation or any laws that need to be put in place speedily, we're here to work in partnership with you.
The Nigerian Television Authority, SAM, remains committed to all the good or noble objectives of the NIPR. We have done a lot of work together, and we are going to continue to sustain the tempo and ensure that this new dawn becomes a reality.
The world-class institution, which is proposed to be located in Akwanga, Nasarawa State, Nigeria, will help in shaping the future of Africa and its global influence with its comprehensive curriculum that combines theoretical knowledge with practical, real-world applications. The core responsibility of the committee is to ensure the take-off of the university in 2026, getting all necessary approvals from relevant agencies of government. The committee has 74 members with 7 advisors. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
And next is Wednesday's weather forecast. Now, this is where we end the news. Thanks for watching. I'm Lami Ali, and Taiwo Osoma has been the sign language interpreter. Do have a good evening.